Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. I have yet another Lego build showcase here, which as usual, I am excited about. I know I've been doing a lot of these lately, but I have been having so much fun with them and just sort of enjoying myself and having a great time, and I'm hoping my viewers are too. So I have another one of those today. This is my newest project. This is Greta. She is a completely original tank design that I have put together purely out of Lego, and I had so much fun building, and I'm so excited to show off. So I'll give the usual spin around, and then I'll get into the details because I worked so hard on making a tank that was super interesting, at least in my opinion, and it's inspired by a lot of cool details. And here it is. So ever since building my Saint-Chamond tank, I have not built a heavy. So I built the Plover, and I built my tank destroyer, and some other little projects and stuff in between there, but I haven't built a classic heavy. So I thought we're gonna go with a classic design, sort of like the M4 Sherman, and we're just gonna go. So I went with the criteria of making a heavy tank that was sort of just inspired by generalized heavy tanks of the Second World War. I've usually done First World War builds, but I've had so much fun doing sort of World War II inspired vehicles. And I'll get on a tangent here just for a quick minute about why I don't actually make real World War II tanks. I would like to, but I just think that there's a lot of places that do it better than me. There's so many places you can look, so many other companies and other creative builders that do such an incredible job recreating the vehicles from the Second World War. So I kind of just dance around that and say, oh, I'm not making them that are exactly the same ones. They're sort of inspired by, because I honestly don't think I could do it as good as other people do. But with that out of the way, I built an M4 Sherman. This is kind of what this is. But it's more, again, it's more inspired by than it is actually the actual vehicle. Because I don't think I could do it as good as other people. But so yeah, this is my my tank. I have designated, her name is Greta. She is an MS Heavy. I made up a company, Madison and Sons MS Steelworks. That's my sort of made up brand for this. I'm thinking maybe I'll make some more vehicles down the line that will be made by that company as well. And I'll just sort of cruise with that idea because I love coming up with concepts and names as well as actual vehicles. So I'm having a lot of fun with sort of naming things too, even like since my Plover tank as well. It's been sort of a fun creative direction to go. So this is the actual vehicle. I wanted to make the spirit of a extremely field modified vehicle. So like the contrast of making a vehicle that had been sort of hot off the production line as opposed to where, you know, you got in the hands of the actual tank operators on the field and how they actually changed it to meet their needs as opposed to how it was designed in the factory. I got some inspiration from the movie Fury. I have not seen it, but I saw a lot of clips of it and sort of learned a little bit about it. And I thought it was really cool, kind of in the spirit of making a tank that was just very well loved by its crew and kind of been well maintained and sort of well addressed throughout wartime, which I thought was cool because these tanks historically were the homes for people and not just fighting machines. So I thought I'd really want to make it a spirit, and the spirit of the real vehicle, and I gave it a name and stuff too. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off all the accessories I have on the outsides of this, and we can go through them one by one because I do have a lot of accessories, and you'll be able to see what the vehicle looks like without any of the clutter that is all on the outside of it, all of the field modifications. So I'm gonna remove those real fast, and we'll be able to see what the actual vehicle looks like. So I want to get to explaining these actual accessories here, but I think I'm going to do that as I put them back on. And before I put them back on, I want to show the inside because I'm so big on little details. Maybe people who've watched some of my other things already know that about me. But I ended up building an interior for this tank. I couldn't not because it was so large, and I haven't built an interior this big since my Saint-Chamond tank, which is still my crowning achievement as far as armored vehicles go. But I haven't built an interior so large before, so I had a lot of room to play with, which was really fun. It kind of comes off in a weird way though, so you kind of have to lift up these front pieces and lift up these little levers in the back, and then it helps actually to also open up this driver's door, which I also will get to. But with a quick pop, the whole thing strips off, which is just beautiful. I'll set this aside over here, try not to make a mess. So here's the inside. It's kind of tricky to see because I know my lighting is really bad, but I made a little machine gun mount for the front of this thing. So again, really classic sort of World War II tank orchestration where there is a machine gun in the belly, and then there is a big old fortification destroying gun on the outside of the head, occasionally with an extra machine gun up there. But I put a big old machine gun right in the front of this, which was really fun. I used a minifigure hand for this little stock there, which is neat. And then I don't know if you can see in there, but I also have little drive cranks, which was really cool. And then I have these shells in here. So these shells were from a different project, something I didn't actually feature on my channel. It was another World War I project, but these were some gas shells. And I just put them in here for now to kind of just showcase sort of some shell storage in there. I might redo this. That's just a note for myself. I might redo this because I'm not too happy with it. It's a little clumsy and the inside's a little boring. I wanted to leave space to actually make a crew and put crew members in there, but I hadn't gotten around to this. This project is somewhat freshly completed, so yeah, I don't know. I always leave room to be able to sort of go around and modify things also, which is really cool. So I made an engine in here. It's tricky to see because of this wall, but I made this very deliberate castle door piece, or this little shutter thing on this castle wall that opens up so you can see the engine in there, which is really, really fun. So you can actually access this hatch even while the whole body of the tank is actually on top of it, like the big deck piece, which is really, really cool. So I made a little engine in there. It's a little more ornate than it appears right here, but it's tricky to see down that hole. But there is an engine in there, which is fun. I love doing little bits like engine compartments and little welded hooks and stuff and pieces like that instead of just doing tracks and big guns, because I know there's a lot of tanks like that, but I love the small details. So yeah, like I said, the interior is not as detailed as maybe I would have made it. But I don't know, I can always come back and do it differently. And it's the interior. I think it's the outside that matters a little bit more. My wheel system is fairly simplistic, actually, considering some of the tank wheels that I've had to measure out. It rolls okay. I kind of have a hard, sort of a hard criteria for the ones that I make. I really want them to roll really, really well. And this one is kind of subpar in my opinion. I might come back and change it, but changing the wheelbase means the whole tank has to be shifted, and I kind of already built it based off of that foundation. So I don't know. I'm not sure about it. But I also made these little track tensioners that actually can shift and change the tension on the actual track, which is really cool because that's kind of an important thing to sort of measure it out. And it rolls okay. It rolls pretty good. I did a big wheel in the front with a big gear, and then I did a tiny one in the back. I like the asymmetric wheels. And then I made these dummy rollers that are sort of road wheels that actually I think work pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. It rolls best on the carpet, not so great on the paper. Yeah, it's good. So I did like a brown one here, and I also did another brown one down here. And I again, it was sort of the details of trying to make something that feels like it was sort of salvaged or changed from other tanks. I also wanted to do a different eye port up here. I don't know if you can see that. The eye port is a dummy one. It has just this black piece here to sort of fill in the space. You can see it from the back. Because I didn't have a real eye port, but I needed this structure, so I ended up putting that. I also wanted to do sort of like a flap hatch the same way that I did sort of a viewing port on my plover tank for anyone else who watched that video. But it was too bulky. It was too big and it looked kind of dumb, and I was like, I'm not going to bother. So I ended up just building up these slants and trying to keep it really clean. So yeah, the interior is pretty boring. It doesn't have a whole lot going on. Again, I might change it, but I wanted room for crew members and things like that. I personally think that the outside of it is way more exciting, and I worked pretty hard to make the outside exciting as opposed to the inside, because you won't see much of that anyway. But once you kind of push all these pieces back on here, it is all it's all ready to go. So this is the actual vehicle as is. It still has a lot of its field modification, even if it doesn't have all of the the clutter on it. But I got this cool big exhaust pipe and stuff too, and this hatch I just think looks so clean and so much fun to have in the back and be able to open and access the engine. I did some extra sort of welded hooks and sort of accessory pieces here. Another welded hook down there that just looks maybe like sort of a field team had modified it, which I just love that idea. I did a radio set piece sort of in the back of this head. I don't know if I like it too much. It's okay. But I think it's good for right now. I know that was more famously done in British tanks, I think, from the Second World War. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know that I think the Americans had more of their antennas, like radio operators, in like the body of the tank as opposed to the head. But I had never tried putting one in the back of the head, so I thought it would be kind of fun because I had an antenna on my plover, but it was in the body. So I tried something new. I had extra thick walls here as I was building this thing, so I bothered to do like a little armor division thing. So this is kind of just a made up sign, but I thought I added sort of a fresh take on sort of how I wanted to change the tank and make it look like it was painted and stuff, because I love decals, but I'm not much of a sticker guy when it comes to that sort of thing. So I did I did little colors here, this little striped bit. I don't think it's of any country flag that I know, but I did a actual sort of like, oh, this is a specific group and this is sort of its designation. On the exact opposite side, I did the same thing, but I actually used a calendar number. So I had like this Lego calendar when I was a lot younger that you like broke apart to build the months and stuff, and it was really neat. But I have a bunch of weird pieces now with printed numbers on it, and I just couldn't not use that on a tank. And this one was perfect. It was a perfect width, and it was nice and big, and I just had to use it. I wanted to use this piece on my tank destroyer, but I didn't get around to using it. So yeah, I have an 11 on there. I like odd numbers. It feels sort of weird, so I love that. So it's got an 11 on this side, and then probably its group or designation or whatever this symbol is right here, which is really, really cool. So yeah, I got these big old lights on the front. This is a huge like slanted front. I was looking around and I was looking at some other custom tanks that people had built, and I was really liking the look of sort of the Sherman Jumbo, which was another famous sort of in the Sherman family, famous tank in the Sherman family. And I love this big slanted sort of front, so I had to do something like that. Yeah, again with the embedded machine gun. And then I made a sort of a tow hooks right here, but this one looks like it was kind of cracked off or maybe ripped off when pulling something, which was really fun. It's just the small things that I enjoy so much. And I did this driver cockpit sort of door too. I wanted to do two kind of more like the classic Shermans, but I didn't have enough room. I mean, I might have, but it was kind of a pain. So I ended up doing it just one, and I think it looks pretty good. It's kind of fun. And I used a sort of an upside down rotator piece to cover up that hatch, which I think looks really good. The head itself was really tricky to do. I still think it's a little small in comparison to the body. I kind of wish I could have done it a little bit better. But I think it's okay. So I made a little ribbon on here using this clip. I thought that was fun. And I also put lines on here. So some people might know, but tanks in the Second World War, sometimes crews would draw lines on the barrels depending on how many kills it had, which I thought was kind of fun. So I kind of went down that route and kind of made it sort of a fun writing on there, or maybe like lines or things like that. Now I think a tank that looked like it had been out in the field this long probably would have more than 2 kills, but I didn't want to make this barrel like really rigid, so I kind of just omitted doing extra, but I thought it still looked kind of cool. So I did these neat little sort of up armored welded plates on the front, which is a little bit something new that I've never tried before, but it sort of looks like in the spirit of up armoring, which was this idea that field crews would modify their tanks using things that they found to make them easier to defend. So I did some like different metal welding on the front with some sort of angled pieces to kind of look kind of fun and just sort of mix it up. So yeah, the head has a full 360 traverse, which is perfect. The hatch doesn't open like this. I liked all this stuff on the back though, so I couldn't like refuse. But if you move the head forward and then open up the hatch, the thing still rotates all the way around, even if this is open, which is cool. And the gun doesn't really get in the way because you can move it. And then if it's down, the turret also turns all the way around, and the gun doesn't catch on anything, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this is the actual vehicle. And now I think I'm gonna go through sort of the accessories here and kind of where I came to deciding on how I wanted all this stuff on this vehicle, because it is just absolutely packed. I designed Greta to sort of be just an absolute pack rat, which I just love the idea of a tank that hauls a whole bunch of stuff, which was fun because I got to use a whole bunch of other pieces that I wouldn't have normally used, and just really go crazy, which was really, really fun. So I have this box piece here. This is removable. I just stuck it on here, but it has like a board piece on it, which is cool because it looked like some sort of long crate, maybe with tools or something in it. And then I also actually used sort of a Minecraft crafting table bit to do another crate, which I thought it just looked good. It was fun, and it really just it fit together really well. And just, I don't know, I love these box colors, this new sort of like lighter tan color, which is really, really fun. And I really enjoyed kind of putting that together and using these interesting colors. I have an extra wheel here too. I love tanks carrying, sort of their own supplies as well to kind of make sure they're safe and that they can repair themselves. So I had to do an extra wheel, and I had a lot of fun doing that as well, on the opposite side from this box. And I have this little tow cable too that I made, which is really, really cool. It's sort of just a grapple piece on a chain that's kind of actually fake wrapped around this, and it's just pinned through itself onto the side. And then this reel is just sort of tacked to this thing. I also made my own jerry cans, which I had a lot of fun with. So here's a little green one. I love the weird colors like this sort of sand green and this maroon color. So I made these little jerry cans that actually fit fairly nicely on the back of these little studs, which is really cool. It was very intentional. It was a lot of work, but it was very intentional to make them be able to stick there. And then I have this box, which I assumed was some kind of machine gun ammunition that then sticks on the back there. I also have the shovel, which is just a classic as well, that kind of goes over the vent sort of this grate piece here, because I still wanted it to be able to be accessible even if there was a whole bunch of like junk on the back. But with the adding of this chain and the shovel, you can't open it immediately, but it still looks like it's accessible, and it still actually works if these two things are removed. So it's pretty good. It's not terrible. But I also didn't want to sort of lock it in place that it was kind of a fake hatch and it wasn't able to work. So yeah, on the side, I have these sort of welded on hooks, and I did these cool rigs for logs. I just recently got some cool new log pieces. I don't know if you can see this, that have little like log ends, which is really fun. It really brought it to life to be able to do little log ends on the end of these, which is really cool. And they're just clipped to these little ladder pieces. I'll put this on first, which kind of made just a really big, cool rig to go and kind of fit on this, which again just looked really cool. It looked like someone had kind of tried to be innovative and find ways to carry these logs, which is really neat. So they're nice and long, so they could be on ditching bars or they could just be up armoring. But I love logs on my tanks, and I just had to put some on with a tank this cool and this big. So I also have this. There's a little Jeep wheel here. I had one of these on my tank destroyer, funnily enough. The cool thing is I don't actually have a vehicle yet that uses these wheels, so it'd be funny to build one finally, and then all my vehicles that are carrying this wheel could finally have something that they could use it for. But I have a little spot for that as well. But a lot of the little studs in the places that I put stuff, I made so that you could kind of move them around too. So I could do a couple different varieties. I even could change stuff like how many chalk lines are on this, or where you want things or whatever. But it just has so much potential for like modification as Legos, even if it's modification as the actual tank too. So that was really fun. I had a lot of fun with that as well. I also had a leftover sort of olive colored branch piece from my plover camouflage, and I thought it was cool to look like maybe this leaf was put on there, or this brush piece was stuck on there, or it just got stuck on the front of this tank. But I kind of like that, sort of that splash of color. And then I also made this rig piece, which is just kind of weird and kind of extra, that maybe it was used for storing stuff, maybe it was used for sort of connecting to tools or stuff, but it fit really nicely on the outside of this and just gave all the more of that detail for the front. So yeah, that's it. That's the modifications on the outside of the body. I think that they add so much. All the places that look cluttered look even better in contrast to places like this that are clean, I think, and it just kind of sort of wraps it all together. So as far as this head goes, I made a machine gun mount with more of a classic, again, sort of M4 Sherman style machine gun on the top, which was really cool. So this little light machine gun fits, and you can kind of position it and move it around, which I really enjoyed and thought was a lot of fun. Naturally, as far as Lego tanks go, I made an interior, but the hole in between the body and the head is non-existent because there's no like rotator piece that has a hole in the center of it. But I did make a hatch on top, which actually opens, and you can put a guy in. So this may be a little crude, but I'm going to attempt to take the top off of this thing because it pops off. It kept popping off while I was actually building it too. But I made a little sort of bowl in there, which is kind of cool because there's a couple different ways, and I have a little guy here to test it out. There's a couple different ways that you can sit them in there. They sit really comfortably, actually sitting down, which is cool. But then also I made it so that you could stand up in it, which was really fun. So you can stand up in this tank also and sort of man the machine gun. And these I've never done double hatches, but these were really fun to do as well. And then this sort of just lines up and fits right back on top of the tank. So, oops, there goes the leaf. So this is my my newest custom build. This is Greta, the MS Heavy. She is my newest addition to my tank collection. Again, original design, sort of inspired by lots of things, mostly World War II vehicles. But I just had so much fun putting this together, and I just was really excited to be able to get a chance to share it and feature it on my channel. But yeah, these have been really great. I've been having a lot of fun doing these. I don't know if I'm going to do tanks for too much longer. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet, but I'm having so much fun building them right now. I think I'm just gonna keep doing it. So this is my latest project. If you like this video, people know what to do. I don't have to remind anybody of that. But I'm just here to showcase what I build and hopefully inspire other people to make some new stuff. So thanks for coming along and checking out my newest tank, and I hope you enjoyed or were inspired by what you saw in this video.